This was huge coming from the monarchy, and to be honest, it's probably about time. And yes, I'm talking about the stripping of Andrew's titles and, well, pretty much everything. He is now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. So what does this mean for the other two ex-royals? Do we think they're shaking in their boots across the pond? Well, we're going to discuss what is going on and what I think could be happening behind the scenes, who was involved in this and what this means for Harry and Meghan going forward. If you want to join me on this channel where I look at the behaviour of high-profile people, and at the moment it is mainly Harry and Meghan, then this could be the channel for you. I look at the truth of what's really going on, and I don't do clickbait or gossip. So if this is what you're looking for, then please think about subscribing to the channel. If you're new here and you've just watched this video, then please also think about liking it, because it does help the algorithm and tells YouTube that I'm a channel worth keeping. So that being said, as you're still here, welcome. So go grab your drink of choice, whatever you are sitting back relaxing with today. I'm having a cuppa because, well, it is tea and therapy. So that being said, let's dive right into this video. Well, welcome everyone. I hope you've had a good weekend, whatever you were doing. I was chilling out and relaxing because, well, just feeling particularly tired at the moment. It must be this time of year, but I'm getting exciting. We are in November. I know some of you celebrate Thanksgiving, but over here in the UK, we generally don't. But I think, you know, a lot to be thankful for. And for me, I'm getting excited for Christmas. So let's get into why we are here. So yes, Andrew has been stripped of, well, pretty much everything. He's also been removed from the Royal Lodge, and he is moving into the Sandringham estate, although that apparently that has been delayed for some reason. This was huge. And I think that I've always said that I believe the royal family sort of put things out sort of tentatively to get the feel of the nation, of kind of what people feel. And when it come out that he was no longer using the titles, there was a huge backlash, and people were saying, you know, well, that's not good enough. And I get it, I really do. But I also think this is a clever move as well, because I think this is distancing themselves from what has come out. And sadly, I think there is more to come. And I believe they probably know this. So they're getting ahead of it, and they are completely detaching and saying, you know, we're putting the monarchy first, which is as it should be. So, of course, what is circulating everywhere now is, well, are Harry and Meghan next? And I think that they are. I am of the belief that this was also a strategic move in paving the way as like, and I don't think it's a warning shot. I think there's been warning shots to those two. And I truly do believe that this is why we're now seeing some of the things that we're seeing now with regards to Harry and Meghan. We know how immature, emotionally immature they are. I think that going to that Dodger game, especially against Canada, the Blue Jays, I think was purposeful. I don't think this was just like, oh, we're just turning up to a baseball game and this is just so lovely. I really, really don't think that's the case, because we're now seeing these ridiculous videos coming out of them walking around, looking at the, you know, the Dodger stuff, and then her sort of, I mean, well, I'll show you the video. So here's the video that's come out recently. So here it is. So I'm just playing the footage in its entirety first, so you can see, you know, this is so staged. I mean, who has a camera right there recording this moment? Silly. So I've slowed this down so you watch. Harry's completely disinterested. This is where she comes over. Now, usually in your peripheral vision, you would look. He doesn't. He doesn't look until she's practically on top of him. Then there's a minute where he clocks the camera and then he looks to her. But no movement, no movement until he clocks the camera there, and then he realizes, oh, I better perform. And so obviously goes right in there, and he obviously moves to hug her. But it's so disconnected. You can really tell that this is performative, because the minute she walks away, he goes back to whatever he was doing. So he goes back to watching the game. He's not even really interested in her. Look how the minute she steps away, he goes back to watching what he was doing. It's like there's just no connection. And this is unusual behaviour for a couple in love. I mean, the fact that this was just recorded in the way it was, and I think this is what they're doing. It's not worked for her while she's doing stuff on her own. So now we're going back to, let's just show everyone how in love we are. When, yeah, I mean, look, the reason I think he looks over now is because this other person is now going in to hug Meghan. So he looks over. But there's just nothing. There's just nothing there. As you can see, and as you can say by the voiceover, you can see Harry's face. I mean, firstly, they've set a camera up to film this moment. And you've only got to look at Harry's face. You can almost see the defeated kind of, oh, we're doing this again, are we? It's you know, he looks right at the camera at the moment. If you see, because I slowed it down. So there's a moment when she's coming over to him and he glances to the camera. So he knows, because some people have said, oh, he didn't know he was being filmed. Yeah, he did. He did. And I think that this was set up. I think everything they do is set up. But what we're seeing now is they've gone from her doing all these separate things, because that's not worked. And so we're back now to, I need you now, Harry. So this is now hoovering Harry back in again. And I need you, because everything I'm doing on my own is not working. So it's back to, let's show that we're a loved up couple and everything's wonderful and everything's great. And you're fine with me after I did that Diana thing. But I don't think Harry is. I really, really genuinely don't. I think that he's just playing a part now. And you've only got to look at the body language and look at the comparison of, like I said, of how they were before all of this happened, before she secured him in the marriage. It was a very, very different dynamic, which she purposefully showed. So I think that this is something that they're doing now because they probably do believe their time is, it's you know, it's numbered, it's happening. And you know, when you go to a baseball game, when your father is head of the Commonwealth and Canada is one of those countries, and you don't support that country, you decide to support another one. Now, I could understand it if she was, say, an avid fan. I really, really could sort of think, okay, look, she's gone to every single game. Look, you know, come on. I mean, as much as I don't like her, this is fair enough. But she hasn't. And in the last video I did, I've already shown that she's pretty disloyal. She'll just go to whatever serves the purpose. Like when she was in Canada filming Suits, she supported the Blue Jays. And she was wearing the Blue Jays cap because it served a purpose. Because she was over there and she wanted it to look like she was very supportive of Canada. A bit like what she does in every aspect of her life. Whatever is the grift of the moment, she will do whatever it is to create it to look like she supports that particular thing or person even. Like wanting to go to Paris and suddenly it's like, oh, I'm supporting Balenciaga and I'm wearing Balenciaga. I mean, yes, she has worn the designer's clothing before. However, she has not been a person that's been avidly going to fashion shows or anything like that. She did it when she was in the TIG days because she was grifting and because she wanted to get into the fashion. Now she's manoeuvring herself into fashion. Of course, what does she do? She starts going to fashion shows because this is the grift. Now we have that Andrew has had his titles removed. So what does this show? This now shows that the monarch is willing to do what it takes to protect the monarchy. He is off the royal website. He's still in the line of succession, but I have a suspicion that's gonna change. So now when you look at the royal website, and I'll put the picture up here, Harry and Meghan are at the very, very bottom. underneath everybody else. But it's starting to look a bit anemic, should I say. I think that they need to bring out some of the younger royals. And I've said this before, if they don't find a way to appeal to the younger generation, I feel worried for the monarchy's future. Because if you look at some of the younger generation, yes, some of them knew the late Queen, but most, especially teenagers, still have this view that the monarchy is irrelevant. And I think if they don't find a way to appeal to the younger generation, which the younger royals could do, like I say, it's in danger. And I think when you've got this particular situation where I think for the first time people are thinking, well, you know, King Charles has got a backbone. I do feel, if I'm honest, that Prince William was very instrumental in this. I think that he is doing a lot behind the scenes. And I do feel that this is, like I say, because this is the king removing his brother. And I think it's very poignant because you have Prince William, who's got the situation with his brother. So I think it is basically saying, well, here's the king, and he, after everything that's happened, he's willing to remove his brother, not just with the, I'm not letting you use your titles. This is like, you're done. You know, you are no longer connected. You know, yes, okay, by blood, he is still connected. There's nothing they can do about that. But his prince title is gone. His dukedom's gone. Everything is gone. He is basically discarded. And given his connection to Epstein, now regardless of what people may feel, and I do have personal thoughts on Andrew, but I do feel it first come out because I did feel that perhaps it was a bit of a witch hunt, and there is still an element of me that feels that way. How, you know, considering we're not seeing anyone else that was connected to Epstein being brought out into the open. So it feels like they're really sort of gunning for Andrew. But when you look at the evidence, the emails, the things that have been said between him and Sarah, it's not good. It is not good at all. You know, especially when you know, even when he was sent to prison, it's like they're still communicating. And it's like, when you have two young daughters, how does your brain think? You know, is money and status so important to you that you are going to forget your morals even and just associate with somebody like that? That is unacceptable to me. So I absolutely agree with the fact that the king has now done this. Now, I know that some people have said, well, Harry and Meghan are not even in the same bracket. But yes, they are, because even if it's different circumstances, Harry and Meghan are no longer working royals. So to me, I don't even feel they should even be on the website. They have their own ridiculous thing in their website, but they're not working royals. So, there are other royals that are not on the website, and they are blood royals. So why are they still on the website? Why have they still got their dukedom? Now, this is showing that without an act of parliament, this can be done. So it says here, because I wrote some notes. So it says, King Charles not needing parliament approval, whilst peerage titles often require I can never say this word. Legislative. Is it legislative? Legislative action. Their use of style and status within the royal family remains a matter of a royal prerogative. So this is basically, it's the king reminding everyone that he sets the standard for what being royal means within the modern age. So that being said, now we know this. I want to say, why wasn't this done before? Why did it take this long? Now, I'm sure that things take time, but still. But this now shows Harry and Meghan that it doesn't need to be an act of parliament, that this is now down to the monarch. And I do feel that this is basically saying to Harry and Meghan, your days are numbered. And it's either going to happen with the king, but I do wonder if it's not, if it's going to happen with William, because the king doing this to his brother, it's almost then the king in William doing this to his brother. And I think rightfully so. Harry and Meghan are doing nothing but show that they are a disgrace to the monarchy. I'm sorry, but that's true. Even up recently with what, like I said, with them not supporting the Blue Jays. And I know that seems like a trivial thing, but it's actually not. You cannot reject the crown and then financially benefit from it. And these two are, it's because of their status, they get the VIP seats. It's because of their status, they get free tickets. What else have they done? I mean, look, let's really look at this. You've got Harry and Meghan that literally float around America, grifting and getting freebies from whoever they can, and do nothing for it. Whereas the royals that we have over here, they work for what they do, what they get. They work for it. That's their job. Harry and Meghan decided to walk away from that, but still want to benefit. It's like you walking away from a job, but still expecting to keep the company car and the profits that maybe they get at the end of the year. It doesn't work that way. And that's what this was showing. It was showing that, well, Andrew can get away with whatever he wants, and now Harry and Meghan can get away with whatever they want. But now basically this is saying, no more, no. And these are consequences, and there has to be consequences. It is no different from you or I, no different. If you say have a family member, and I'm sure and I know that some of you do, because I get emails and I get people that tell me things, and there are people that have family members that have behaved very similar to Harry and Meghan. And it is no different from those family members treating you very badly, but then expecting to still get Christmas presents, birthday presents, to still benefit from things that happen within the family, but they're still happy to treat you badly. There has to be consequences. And I see and I hear parents all the time, especially, feel so bad about, if one of their children are behaving, say, in a similar way to Harry or Meghan. And they feel terrible for cutting them off or not sending them a birthday card or not sending them a Christmas card. I mean, at the end of the day, it's individual choice. But if you're rewarding bad behavior, then you're never going to expect it to change, because why would it? If they're still benefiting from everything, but treating you terribly, also, what does that message send to say if you have other children who do treat you with respect? It's basically sending that message to them, well, your behavior doesn't get rewarded and you're getting treated exactly the same as the child that treats me terribly. I mean, that's not a good message to send. And it is okay to put in a boundary. It is okay to put in a consequence. Even if you say, if you talk to me like this, if you disrespect me like this, I am not engaging with you. When you want to come to me as an adult and talk to me like an adult, I will converse with you all day long. But if you're abusive over text or abusive over the phone or abusive over emails or abusive in person, you can set a boundary that says, no, I respect myself enough to not have you talk to me this way or treat me this way. I love you, but I don't love your behavior. And so when that changes, I'm here for you. But until it does, I don't want to know. But I see many, many times where parents really struggle with that. And I get it. As a parent myself, I really do get it. But it is very, very important, like you would with a young child, that you set the standard. If you don't want to be disrespected, don't be. And it's the same not just for children, it's the same for partners. If you have a partner that continually disrespects you, continually talks down to you, ask yourself, why am I putting up with this? Why do I feel so little about myself that I'm willing to put up with this type of behavior? And now what we're having with the royal family is they're saying, enough is enough. Now, to me, this should have happened a long time ago, but it didn't. For whatever reason, because, you know, the monarchy is different to family, and I get that. You know, this is why when people, like when we see Andrew going to a family function, not connected to the monarchy, but a family thing, it's like, oh, you know, Andrew's gone to visit the king, or it's like, well, he's still his brother. I mean, he might decide that he wants nothing to do with him. That's within his right. But if he does, it is separate. And as most people know, it is difficult when you have a child or someone in your family that is being disrespectful and you're in a position where, like, for example, you have to have them for dinner, you have to have them for Christmas, or, you know, you don't want them to be on their own. It doesn't mean to say that you're putting up with their behavior, but it's basically saying, you know, I have a heart and I'm a human being. And it's like, yes, you can come for Christmas, but if you do disrespect me, then you will be asked to leave. You know, this won't happen again, or I won't invite you the next time. If you come for Christmas and you spoil it for everybody, you won't be invited again. That's you putting in a boundary, and that's okay. You've given them the warning. You said, if you do this, this is the result of that. Then if they do it, they've only got themselves to blame. Now, of course, there's every chance they still blame you, and they still make it all about the fact that you've not let them come for Christmas, blah, blah, you know, because they will act like the victim, which is what they do, and which is what Harry and Meghan do. When they have boundaries put in place, when they get told they cannot do something, like use HRH, like petulant children, they're like, well, I will use it. You know, who goes anywhere and has the Duchess of Sussex initials on emboldened? So this shows you how classless she is, because as I've said before, people who are really famous, who have worked hard to become famous or to become rich or whatever it is, they don't want to advertise it. You will find that famous people will go out and about, generally in public. They won't advertise, they won't call backgrid, because they'll sneak out, they'll go out in disguises, or they maybe go out without all their glam on, and so they tend to look, they blend in with everybody else, because they don't want to be seen. They want that moment in public because they're photographed so much. Meghan is the opposite. She's the one that calls backgrid. She's the one that does anything to get herself into the spotlight because that's what she craves. And the royal family know this now. And I would imagine by now they also know the truth regarding the children. If they didn't already, they certainly do now. So the fact that we've got these rumours circulating that William is going to be taking the title from is it the Prince and Princess title from the children? Yeah, absolutely. Because I've said a million times, they're lying. They are absolutely, unequivocally lying about those children. And they do not and should not be in the line of succession. I don't believe Harry or Meghan should be in the line of succession. I don't think they should have their titles. Let them go back to being Harry Mountbatten Windsor. And that would be really funny, wouldn't it? Now it's Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, so they will have the same last name as Andrew. That would be hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I do wonder if that is the case, whether they would then try and go to Spencer. I'm not saying that could happen because it's a whole thing, but that does make me wonder if that was exactly why they were trying to go to Spencer, because they knew about the titles. They know that they're on borrowed time. So I think that they were trying to almost like say to the king, well, if you're thinking about removing our titles, we're going to go and be Spencer then. But of course that got shut down. But yeah, it all makes sense. It all makes sense to me. But as I said, you know, it's this is a boundary that should have happened. And I do think that now this boundary has to happen with Harry and Meghan. But I think we're going to see them acting out now, because I think they know the titles are going. And so they're just going to do whatever it takes to be disruptive, because that's how they are. They're very, very emotionally immature people. So yeah, but let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? You know, give me your thoughts on this, because, you know, do you think that this is a long time coming with Andrew? This should have happened before, or do you feel sorry for him? What are your thoughts on Harry and Meghan? Do you feel that, again, that these titles should be taken by King Charles, or do you feel that they, you know, it would be quite symbolic to be taken by William when he becomes king? But yeah, let me know in the comments. So as always, I will see you in the next video. Please don't forget to like this video before you leave. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you do not miss future uploads. All of my links are in the description box below. You've seen things running along the bottom here. Please also, if you have not seen your name coming up as a member, please do not worry. I have a lot to get through, and I'm not saying that braggingly, I just really do. And I don't have a huge amount of time because I do work full time. So I will get to you, but feel free to drop it in the comments, or even drop me an email to say, look, hey, you know, my name hasn't gone up. And I will add it if I see, obviously if I see that, but they are constantly being added all the time. So they will happen. As I've said, you don't forget, you can, if you want to go and get this little bubble mug, this will all be changing at the end of this year. So if you want a chance to go and get your bubble mug, go and get it, because they will be going. They will no longer be available, and they are on my merch, which the link is in the description box below. If you would like to treat me to a cup of tea, the link is also below, and you can also go to the little yellow icon, which is on my YouTube page, which is just above the subscribe button, I believe. You can also join me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We have a lovely Facebook page where you get lots of different things. So if you're on Facebook and want to come and join, again, the link is in the description box below. I'm also on this new place called Lemon 8. I am considering going back on Twitter, but I am deep in thought about it because of what happened. I haven't been on there since 2021. I'm a bit dubious about going back on there because of a certain person and the level of bullying that happened over there. But then I'm also somebody that doesn't like to bow down to bullies. And I also know that to grow my channel, there are a lot of people on Twitter. So if I can navigate and maybe just block off the trolls, it could be a good place for people to see some of my videos. But again, let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, so anything else, don't forget, all in the description box below. And as always, you know that I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye. Mwah.